Presenting the Bachelor or the Master of Science Geology graduating batch, may we now invite Mr. Joshua Godwin Cuevas.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. To the faculty members and staff of the National Institute of Geological Sciences, to the class of undergraduate and graduate students, and to our families and friends, good morning. Standing here today is both an honor and a little surreal. Just 3 years ago, I was sitting where our undergraduate students are now. Like many of you, I was excited at the prospect of graduating, but beneath that excitement was uncertainty. Because just a day before the recognition program of July 2023, I was fresh off a teaching demo and interview to be an instructor and graduate student here at the Institute. I wondered whether I was truly ready for the next chapter, whether I was capable of producing meaningful research, whether I belonged to a room filled with people whose knowledge and accomplishments I admire, or even whether I made a mistake, jumping headfirst into a master's program immediately after graduating. Today, I can finally answer those questions. The answer is not that I suddenly became so sure of myself. Even today, as I stand here graduating for the second time, I still feel anxious and restless about the next chapter, as I'm sure many of our fellow graduates are. Instead, I learned that graduate school slowly teaches you that growth may rarely look the way you expect. When people think of graduate school, they often imagine discoveries, publications, conferences, travel opportunities, and successful thesis defenses. Yes, those moments certainly exist. I was fortunate to experience some of them and receive opportunities I could have only dreamed of as an undergraduate. But if I'm being honest, those highlights make up only a small fraction of the journey. The real graduate school experience happens in the hours no one sees. It happens when your code refuses to work after days of debugging, when your results contradict your expectations, when you rewrite the same chapter over and over because it is still not good enough, when your advisor asks questions you cannot answer yet, when deadlines and responsibilities pile up, and of course, when you quietly wonder whether you are capable of finishing at all. I think every graduate student at one point or another meets a version of themselves they have never encountered before. A version that is tired, frustrated, unsure, perhaps even convinced that everyone else is more deserving of being here. I certainly met that version of myself. Despite every accomplishment along the way, I often found myself thinking that maybe I wasn't as capable as people believe. But perhaps I had simply been lucky. Over time, however, I realized something important. Graduate school is not designed to make you feel like an expert every single day. It is designed to place you at the edge of what you know. Feeling uncertain doesn't mean that you don't belong. Sometimes it means you're exactly where learning begins. As geologists, we study our lives, we spend our lives studying the earth. We know that mountains are not built overnight. Collisions occur over millions of years. Faults accumulate stress long before an earthquake occurs. And from what I've learned in geophysics, even the depths of the subsurface reveal themselves only when careful observation and with patient interpretation of data. Just as the principle of uniformitarianism reminds us that the greatest changes to the earth are often the result of countless small processes acting over time, life in the university has reminded me that people are perhaps shaped in very much the same way. It comes from every late night, every failed attempt, every conversation, every field excursion, and every revision quietly accumulating into the people we have become. Growth is gradual, sometimes invisible, sometimes messy, and often only recognizable when we look back. One lesson that graduate schools taught me is that research is not an individual achievement. Every paper carries countless discussions behind it. Every successful presentation reflects hours of guidance from mentors. And every completed thesis is supported by lab mates who shared frustrations, exchanged ideas, and reminded one another that none of us were struggling alone. To my advisor, professors, and mentors, thank you for believing in us, especially during the moments when we struggle to believe in ourselves. To my fellow graduate students, to those who are here and have crossed the finish line, but also to my friends who are still on their own journeys, thank you for every discussion after class, every laugh during fieldwork, every excited conversation during travel, every shared meal during lunchtime, and every late night message asking kamusta na ang thesis mo. Those moments mattered more than you probably realize. And to our families and loved ones, thank you for your patience. Graduate school often asks not only for our own sacrifices, but also for yours. Thank you for celebrating our victories and carrying us through the difficult days. While I was invited to speak on behalf of the MS graduates, I would also like to address our BS graduates, many of whom were also the very first students I had the privilege of teaching as a newly minted instructor 3 years ago. I may not have been a perfect instructor, but teaching all of you has made me a better one. For that, I am thankful. I cannot wait to see where your paths take you next, and I also hope that you carry with you the same curiosity that brought you here in the first place. As I close the chapter of my life, I do so with immense gratitude. The Institute gave me knowledge, yes, but more importantly, it gave me humility. It taught me resilience. It taught me that science advances not because we always have the right answers, but because we continue asking better questions. And perhaps most importantly, it reminded me that our greatest achievements are rarely ours alone. They are built upon the kindness, guidance, patience, and belief of the people who walk beside us. To everyone finishing this journey today, I leave not with a heavy heart, but with moments of discovery, memories of friendship, misunderstandings that led to growth, and mentors whose lessons will remain with us long after we leave the Institute. These past few years were never just about earning a degree, they were about becoming the kind of scientist or person you never imagined you could become. A version of yourself that is stronger than the one who first walked into this institute. Congratulations to my fellow graduates. May we all serve the nation and its people. Mabuhay po tayo nito.
Thank you, Mr. Cuevas, for your very inspiring message that have surely touched the hearts of everyone in this room. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, let us give our student representatives a warm round of applause.
At this point, let us take a moment to revisit the memories, experiences, and milestones that